Hi guys, I'm McGann, and welcome back to another episode of There I Read It, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe because I'm going over every chapter of Harry Potter for the first time ever in my life. So there are a lot of little details and nooks and crannies that I'm picking out of this series that a lot of people might miss. And today we are on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, chapter 21, Hermione's Secret. And it's a big secret. So the last chapter ends with everything being snafu'd. Peter Pettigrew turns into a rat and runs away, Lupin's a werewolf, and Harry, Sirius Black, and Hermione have all passed out around the dementors. So this chapter starts with Snape and the Minister of Magic having a little back and forth, and Snape is telling the Minister that the kids actually attacked him because Black had put a confundus charm on them. And Snape's like, oh, I don't blame the children, that part's not their fault. But it is their fault that they decided to go chase down Black to try and catch him alone. And Snape is complaining to the Minister that the kids get away with too much, and Fudge is like, yeah, well, we all have kind of a blind spot when it comes to Harry, don't we? And Snape says, which was actually a really decent point, that, well, favoring Harry and giving him special treatment isn't really doing him any favors, so I try to hold him to the same standard as everybody else, which, if that's true, that's good. That's a positive thing to have somebody who holds you accountable in your life, but it seems like Snape takes it way too far, and he still does play favorites. Of course, with the Slytherin kids, he is much more lenient towards them than he is with the Gryffindor kids. But even beyond that, it's like he is dead focused on embarrassing Harry and knocking Harry down some pegs, and it just comes off as really petty. But if Snape's master plan is to actually treat Harry like a nobody like everybody else, then I guess that is a fair thing to do, even though I don't personally see that as his behavior. Now, Black is locked up upstairs in Flitwick's office. He is about to get the Dementor's kiss, and Ron is gonna survive, but he's in bad shape. He's totally out of it. And I actually wrote down in my notes, like, where is Dumbledore? Because they've mentioned him a few times in this book, but I don't think he's had any one-on-one conversations with Harry this year, which is weird. And I was like, who is the problem child this year that is taking all of Dumbledore's attention? And as soon as I wrote that down, Dumbledore walks into the hospital wing and he wants to talk to Harry and Hermione about Sirius Black. And Snape is just furious because he can't stand that anyone else is going to get a side in this matter. Snape's like, I caught them. I'm telling you what happened. So why do you need anybody else's explanation? Like, he just can't stand it. Just calm down, Candace. So Dumbledore shoos everybody out of the hospital section, including Poppy Pomfrey, which is still such an adorable first name. And Poppy's walking around shoving chocolate in people's mouths because she's my spirit guide. But Madame Pomfrey is so indignant and upset that she's getting kicked out of her own hospital wing and that she's not getting any say-so over her patients right now. But she goes begrudgingly, and Dumbledore starts talking to the kids alone, going, there's very little time left to fix this situation. And even if you say something, Snape has got this very believable story that's going to play into exactly what everybody else wants to believe. And no wizard is going to want to hear the testimony of some 13-year-olds and a werewolf that wizards hate and mistrust. And Dumbledore keeps saying these strange things that don't make sense to the readers or Harry. He's going, we need more time, and there's laws, so you must not be seen. And Hermione at some point goes, oh, like she caught on, but we don't know yet. And as Dumbledore is leaving the hospital, he goes, I'm locking you in. It's 5 minutes to midnight. 3 turns should do it. And then Hermione pulls out this gold chain from under her clothes, and it has a little hourglass at the end of it. And she's like, Harry, come over here. And Harry's like, what's going on? And she's like, I'll explain on the way, and throws the chain over Harry's head. Apparently 3 turns equals about 3 hours, and they go flying through time and space. And Hermione's like, yeah, we just time traveled. It's no big deal. I got this time turner from Professor McGonagall, and I was sworn to secrecy to never tell anybody about about it, because McGonagall had to go write the ministry and say what a model student that Hermione was, and how she would be so great with this and never abuse it and only use it for her studies. And so that is how Hermione has been able to go to all these different classes that are happening at the exact same time. Again, this would be a wonderful reveal if the movie had not ruined this for me already. But I'm also wondering, when she's describing this time turner and, why she has it and how she uses it, why didn't she use it when Ron was grabbed by Sirius Black as a dog bear? Or why didn't she use the time turner to grab Scabbers right as he was going into the woods? Because she would at least have a good idea of where he went at that point, and she could have waited in there, never seen herself or the others, and nabbed him. Or even before that, when Hermione thought that Crookshanks killed Scabbers, she uses the time turner in Hogwarts all the time. Why didn't she go back an hour or two and, save that situation and not have these months and months of fighting with Harry and Ron? It just doesn't make sense. I understand that she doesn't want to be seen and she doesn't want to be caught breaking the law, and there are rules for using the time turner, but she was using it all the time already. It would have been such an easy, simple fix for herself. But the kids are now back in time roughly 3 hours, and Hermione and Harry hear themselves from 3 hours ago under the invisibility cloak going down to Hagrid's hut. So they realize that Dumbledore also wanted them to save Buckbeak from being, executed. That's the word. And that's why Dumbledore specifically said that Sirius Black was being held in Flitwick's office on the 7th floor, 13th window from the West Tower. So again, Ron didn't time travel with them, but Harry and Hermione go down to Hagrid's hut. They have to sneak around to get there so that they don't see themselves because, time paradox? No, wait, apparently time paradoxes don't count here. But I don't know, I'm going to try to unravel this more in a minute. Let me try to keep with my train of thought before I lose it. Harry and Hermione go hide around Hagrid's garden. They wait for the younger versions of themselves to head back up towards the castle, and Hermione makes the brilliant point that they can't release Buckbeak and set him free until the committee for the destruction of magical, whatever they are, the people coming to kill Buckbeak, see him, so that way Hagrid doesn't get blamed. And as the younger version of the kids are inside of Hagrid's house and they hear the point where Scabbers is about to be discovered, Harry's like, why don't we just bust in there and kill Scabbers, take him right now? And Hermione's like, no, there's laws, you can't meddle with time ever, it's against wizarding law. And Harry's like, but it's just us and Hagrid in there, it's not like we're gonna go to jail over this. But Hermione goes, what would happen if you saw yourself burst in through the door? And Harry's like, I don't know, I'd probably think that I was either crazy or it was some kind of dark magic. And Hermione's like, yeah, because loads of wizards end up getting spooked and killing themselves either in their past or future tense because they don't know what they're looking at. But all the same, couldn't Hermione have quickly explained that to the rest of them? Because I get Harry doesn't know about time travel and neither does Ron and Hagrid, but Hermione does. So if Hermione and Harry come bursting through the door and Hermione goes, wait, I can explain this, don't hurt them, wouldn't that be enough? I think that would be enough for Harry, but who knows? Oh, and I didn't write this name down before, but McNair was the executioner from the Ministry coming to kill Buckbeak. And after McNair sees Buckbeak inside of Hagrid's house and they're doing all this paperwork, Harry gets Buckbeak unroped, untethered, but Buckbeak is kind of refusing to move. He won't really hustle and they need to get him in the forest fast. And what is weird is that when Harry is about to be caught by the committee, Dumbledore calls out, oh, wait, you need to sign here too, Mr. So-and-so, and kind of drags the paperwork process of the execution out a few more minutes. So that's weird, and it's making me wonder again if Dumbledore has some kind of future vision. Because even in the past book, he knew exactly when Harry was in Hagrid's hut. Like, he made commentary for Harry's benefit, even though Harry was under the invisibility cloak and could allegedly not be seen. Anyways, though, the Ministry people come out of Hagrid's hut to kill Buckbeak, and he's not there. there. So McNair gets really mad and he throws his axe into the fence, and that is supposedly the sound that the kids had heard 3 hours ago up on the hill. So it wasn't actually Buckbeak getting killed, it was some weird I hit something else squish. And they said it's a squish sound, but that McNair hit the fence, so I don't know what kind of fences they're building in the UK, but they're obviously different than the ones we use here that are made out of metal. But that also means that a few chapters ago when Harry was coming out of Hagrid's hut and he felt strange, that I don't know, is that connected to Harry being in proximity of Harry? I'm curious, but I don't think I'm gonna get a full answer there. But with the execution canceled, the ministry people are really agitated and they're like, somebody set that hippogriff free and we need to search the grounds. And Dumbledore, again showing some curious knowledge for a situation that he hasn't lived through yet, says that, oh, you think somebody took a hippogriff and then drug it away on the ground? No, you need to check the skies. And of course that is all that saves Harry and Hermione at that point. So again, it's a really weird, how does Dumbledore know everything that's going on kind of situation. This is also another situation, this whole time turner business in this chapter, where Dumbledore could have stepped up and thrown his weight in, but he chooses not to. He chooses instead to act through 13-year-old children, and it's kind of weird. And it's not that Dumbledore makes bad points, that Snape has a very convincing story that plays into what the Ministry already believes, and you know, who's going to believe kids, especially after they supposedly have been confounded by Sirius Black. So it's not that Dumbledore doesn't have a point, but it's like he is in a position of power and of sway where his speaking up could make a difference, and he constantly chooses not to speak up. You know, Cornelius Fudge, as of at least the first book, really looks up to Dumbledore and comes to him for advice. So I feel like there's some sway there that Dumbledore could have, you know, more so than Lucius Malfoy, but for some reason he is never willing to use his clout. Anyways, Harry and Hermione stay on the ground, they stay in the Forbidden Forest, and they go as close as they can to the Whomping Willow. Harry and Hermione see themselves go into the willow, then they see like Fudge and the Executioner walk by, and then Lupin comes through and Harry's like, I should get that invisibility cloak. Yeah, I should get it before Snape can get it, because then things would have been so much easier. And Hermione's like, no, you idiot, don't mess with time. Which again is weird that Hermione's willing to do it when it's in her favor for education, but not when it's going to save somebody's life. So it's a weird flex there, Hermione, but whatever. And just as Hermione is warning Harry not to be stupid, Hagrid comes by, drunk as a skunk, just so happy that Buckbeak is alive. And then moments after that, Snape comes out, grabs the cloak, and gets in through the tunnel. So now Harry and Hermione have to wait because they can't go through the tunnel, they can't risk being seen or interfering, so they're just stuck in the Forbidden Forest with Buckbeak. And Hermione's like, hey, how did we get away from those dementors anyways? There were so many of them, they were right on top of us. And Harry's like, well, I saw somebody with a big Patronus come through, and I kind of think I know who it was, but probably not. And after Hermione kind of prods at him, Harry's like, I think it was my dad. And I never really liked that in the movie. It made no sense to me how he jumped to that conclusion. But I get it more now because Harry's thinking, well, if Peter Pettigrew has been alive for 12 years when everybody else thought he was dead, then why not James Potter? Oh, and apparently before, Lupin didn't turn into a werewolf because it was a cloudy sky and the moon was blocked. So he only transformed because the clouds parted and I guess the moonlight hit him. But Harry and Hermione soon realized that werewolf Lupin is about to come charging their way, so they grab Buckbeak and run to Hagrid's hut. And they stand there for a minute, but then Harry's like, well, wait a minute, we gotta know what's going on, so I'm gonna go back outside. And Hermione's like, you can't interfere, Harry, I know what you're thinking, you think you're gonna go find your dad, you can't do it. And Harry's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then he goes and tries to do it. So he's standing on the other side of the lake, watching the dementors circle around himself from 3 hours ago. And he's like, where's my daddy? My daddy's coming, I know he's coming, where's my daddy? And then it suddenly strikes Harry that, hold on, I I'm standing here. It wasn't my dad that saved me. It was me. Expecto Patronum. And this giant stag comes out and goes, charging towards the dementors like it's bowling for buzzards. And for unclear reasons, the dementors are like, all right. And they all trot off or hover off. I don't exactly understand their anatomy at all. Then it dawns on Harry that, hey, wait. My dad's nickname was Prongs, so I bet he turned into a stag too. Well, I guess Harry didn't turn into a stag, but he had the soul of a stag. I don't really get the whole spirit animal thing and how you only get one assigned to you. I don't quite get the Patronus. I get the larger concept of it, but much like the Dementors, I feel like it's very ill-defined in this book. But right after that happens and the Patronus disappears, Hermione comes marching over furiously. What have you done? And Harry's like, I just saved us. But don't worry, because I thought I was my dad, so we're in the clear. Like, I didn't officially see myself. Which, again, is not for any reason of a time paradox, supposedly. This is just an issue of, well, I might go crazy if I see myself, or I might try to kill myself if I see myself. So even though Harry felt weird both of the times he was in proximity of himself, or at least old Harry did, new Harry really didn't, there's apparently no meeting yourself paradox that will unravel the space-time continuum here. And the weird thing is, Harry has never produced a Patronum that big and powerful before. He's not even formed a full animal before, but he's telling Hermione, well, I knew I could do it this time because I'd seen myself do it before. And I'm not sure that logic tracks, but that definitely sounds like a time loop paradox to me. Anyways, Harry and Hermione end up getting on Buckbeak. They go up to Professor Flitwick's office. They unlock the window with Alohomora. Actually, let me correct myself. Hermione is the one that uses Alohomora because, credit where credit's due, and she did that all by herself without being asked or letting it become a problem. So Hermione handled that situation. Let's go yay Hermione for that second. And the kids free Black. They get to the top of the tower. He escapes and they're all like, shoo, don't talk, just go, just run. But can't Dementors fly? And don't they see Sirius from being deliriously happy that he escaped? I mean, that whole situation surely put a few positive emotions in his heart, right? What is happening here? Not to mention, doesn't Professor Snape still have the Marauders map like right there in his office all spread out? So for many, many miles, Snape can still track where Sirius Black is gone. So isn't he gonna do that? I don't know. This chapter, for as interesting as it was, seems to raise more questions than it answers, which is a shame in some ways because there have been a lot of moments in this book where they've thought through something and Rowling has written out an answer in the story so that you're not questioning her later. Like, why don't we just march in there and grab Scabbers? Well, you can't because you might accidentally kill yourself. But like I said, that raises another question of, well, couldn't Hermione handle that situation since she would know what's going on? But it is what it is, and we've got the book we've got, for better or worse. Maybe in another book they'll explain it in more detail or come back like they have a few other times and, cherry pick details to flesh out better. But man, my hand is killing me holding that notebook now. Anyways, there is one chapter left, so I want to go power through that, even though you're not going to see it for a little bit of time yet, unless you're late to the party. But I do want to thank you guys for watching and coming on this very long Harry Potter journey with me. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever you want to do. I appreciate you. And we will see you next time, family members. Bye! Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that? Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Fanily and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. people who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.